Warning, this is a random episode. Some hypothetical topics asked and or discussed may not be suitable for all listeners. Viewer discretion is advised. Epitaph here.
Speaking of fish, would you rather have live spiders removed from your ears or have live fish removed from your bladder? If you can imagine either of those things happening.
Okay, so the problem I'm having here,
Yeah. Just talk me through it.
on the one hand, spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Just their very existence is an affront to nature. I know they serve a purpose. I don't care. Hate spiders. On the other hand, I've had kidney stones.
Ooh, I heard this, Earl.
I've known a woman who had kidney stones and was pregnant. Not at the same time, but I mean, separate life events.
Yeah.
She said that kidney stones were by far more painful than labor. I believe it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 1000 Crazy Questions, the podcast. I'm your currently sane host, Houston Pierce. This is a podcast where we have on at least one guest a week and ask some series of crazy would you rather questions. We get into the psyche of our guests, explore topics and questions that maybe should not have been explored. To make questions from you, the listener, or from a list of 1000 questions, you can submit question suggestions at me at 1kcrazyquestions@gmail.com or at 1000 Crazy Questions on Instagram. That's 1000 on Instagram. When we're stalling, onto the show.
And this week we have with us longtime gamer and podcast host, Jed Schaffer. Jed, if you want to introduce yourself, I can't speak. If you want to introduce yourself to the listeners a bit, for those who don't know you.
I do that in every intro of my own show, so don't feel bad. I don't think I've ever made it through one of my own without stumbling. I'm Jed Schaffer. I'm the co-host, I should say, of First Gen Gamers, along with my co-host, Ashley. It's a podcast about being a lifelong gamer and loving and wanting to go over the weird, wild, unbelievable history of video gaming and just celebrating it for, the good, the bad, and the bizarre.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm sure you get this question often, but what's your favorite game?
So it's a bit of an obscure one. It's called Rez.
Okay.
It was originally released on the PlayStation 2. It's what's called an on-rails shooter, where you're in a fixed position. It's a third-person perspective, and you're moving a targeting reticle all over the screen to hit different objects or different enemies.
Yeah, arcade style. Yeah.
But what makes Rez so unique, the game was built around around the neurological, it's not even a disability, it's a neurological condition called synesthesia, where this is a real neurological condition where the five senses will sometimes be cross-wired. So a person with synesthesia might, when they hear something, they might associate it not voluntarily, like their brain will automatically associate a sound with a color. So they'll say, your name is the color red, or sound might have an association to a taste. So they might say, your name, Houston Pierce, tastes like apples. So the whole idea behind the game then is that what you're seeing, your actions create changes in the landscape and the visuals. Those translate into force feedback into the controller. They also create sound that affects the soundtrack, which is a techno soundtrack. So you've got sight, sound, and feeling all looping together and affecting each other.
Do you have synesthesia?
No.
This game like...
No, it's just the idea of synesthesia really intrigues me just because it's such an odd neurological condition. Like, it's not something that is necessarily debilitating or something that is life altering. It just creates this weird sensory change that this very small group of people have and no one else experiences. And the idea of someone looking at that and going, I wonder how I can gamify that. And turning that into, as close as humanly possible, turning it into a game is just such a unique concept. And it came off without a flaw. It is just such a beautiful game. It is a fun game to listen to. It's a fun game to look at. It's a fun game to experience. And it's something Like what? So when I play games, I always have one really big story-based game that I focus on, and then I've got like 3 or 4 games that I can drop in on and just mess around. Oh hey, play football game, play wrestling match, something like that. Rez is one of those safety games where I have beaten that game dozens of times in dozens of different ways, and I can always pop into it and play it for a half an hour and be completely satisfied.
Huh. So, but it's just a shooter, but like the way it,
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, there's a plot around it where it takes place in the far future and there's an AI that controls the world and it has gone haywire and you're a hacker that's trying to break through the different layers of firewalls and in programs that protect it. So that's where the shooting comes in. So as you're hacking, quote unquote, is getting past the firewalls and the aggressive programs that are trying to protect it.
Gotcha. And you can just, is it still available on the PS2? Do I need a PS2 to play it, or it's online probably somewhere?
They've actually remastered it. You can now get it it's available on the PS4, so you could have it on the 4 or the 5. I believe it's also still it might be on Xbox, and I'm like 95% sure it's on Steam if you're more into PC. But the remastered version is called Rez Infinite. They also, along with remastering the visuals, which is absolutely beautiful, they created a whole new area called Area X. And that is a free roaming area that you can use in conjunction with a VR set.
Oh, so they really like leaned into the artwork of their game and they're just like, hey, explore this. That's awesome. Cool.
It is absolutely gorgeous. I've never done it in VR, but even just seeing that area on a TV is absolutely gorgeous.
Man, as you were talking, it kind of reminds me of, not to fall down a rabbit hole here, especially at the beginning, but you know the movie Fantasia, like the original Fantasia from the 19-something?
Yep.
Like it's just music. And like, and the first piece is just music and they put abstract colors on there. And it's like, this is what the artists saw when these musicians played. And like, at first it just starts off with like just gradient colors, and then it goes to landscape, and then it goes to like rolling hills, and then maybe some movement here, the bird there, a fish there. Like you start to see things you recognize, but it's still very abstract. I love that movie. That's like if not my favorite Disney movie. It's a weird pick, but I love music, and like that type of abstract visualization really, it just gets me, especially when the music's nice. So I get what you're saying. I get that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know if I have synesthesia. I'm pretty sure I don't. I mean, I can hear something and a color will abstractly pop up in my head, but it's not like I don't know if I would call that. It's like I don't want to step on anyone's toes who actually has it. People always say they're ADHD, and you're like, no, this is actually ADHD person. They're crazy, but not crazy. But so I won't claim to have it because I've never met someone who has been diagnosed. But yeah, seeing colors when hearing music, it makes sense. Like I've gotten that sensation before, so that's cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like Fantasia directly, but I can see the comparison of that in that it is very much, there's an artistic mind behind this more than just, hey, let's shoot down aliens, bang, bang, zoom, zoom. There is definitely the artistic mind of let's marry visuals with music in a way that's not just the music playing in the background. The music is part of what you see and it's part of what you feel. And like I said, it goes all in that feedback loop of what you see influences what you hear, which influences what you feel, which feeds back in both directions. It's definitely I've never played it stoned, but I'm sure that game would be a trip.
That's awesome. That sounds cool. Hey, real quick, listeners, I'm going to throw this at you. Here are the rules for the game.
There are 2 rules to this game/conversation. Rule number 1, you must always answer the question no matter what. If you honestly have no preference towards one or the other, you say the phrase, flip a coin, and we move on. Rule number 2, whoever asks the question doesn't have to answer it if they choose not to. These rules exist because as questions become harder to answer, these rules become harder to follow.
An episode, so the topic discussion questions asked will probably not be family friendly. If you want to go check out a friendly version of this podcast, there's blue episodes. They're just as insightful, deep, and ridiculous, so I encourage you to go there. But otherwise, stay put and listen to this one. Jed, just want to remind you, if you have different variations of question for me, it's a conversational podcast. You're never interrupting. Quick one, informant disclaimer to the listeners. Let me try that again. Quick but important disclaimer to the listeners. Everything is hypothetical. If you're offended by this episode, you can at me, I guess. I mean, I may not respond. I may, or I may not. I don't know. It's up to you, but you chose to listen to this episode. And lastly, before we begin, Jed, is there anything you'd like to ask or declare? Are there any inherent mental biases you know you may have?
No, bring it on. I'm an open book.
All right, let's go. First, smack hard to the pavement question. Pizza or tacos?
Ooh. Oh, that's cruel. Oh, that's cruel. Oh,
Yeah.
man. I think, God, I hate to sacrifice one. This is so mean.
The first question.
I think I would probably be letting down my ancestors if I didn't say tacos. I have a little bit of Mexican on my dad's side. Tacos are just so versatile. I mean, it's not that pizza isn't versatile. Pizza's amazing.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a pizzeria around here that's doing chicken and waffles pizza.
Is that good?
I don't know. I haven't tried it. I mean, I love chicken and waffles. I'm just really hesitant about the idea of chicken and waffles plus cheese and tomato sauce.
Yeah. The syrupiness doesn't. Chicken and waffles sounds weird till you have it, and it's a perfect marriage. It's actually really solid. But then pizza is its own. You don't want to break up that menage a trois. It's good.
Yeah. I'm tempted to try it. It's a little odd, but I'd be willing to try it. But tacos. Man, just tacos hit. Like I said, I think I'm picking this based on not disappointing my ancestors, but that's what I'm going with.
Gotcha. I have to go the other way. I mean, I was always going to pick pizza personally, and I love tacos. To not have a taco, I can't imagine that world. But pizza's just, it's the winner to me. It's the clear winner in that it's so versatile, and I don't know. Tacos they spill out on you, and they just, I think burritos are like the realized version of tacos. I think burritos are better than tacos in a way. I mean, it's the same ingredients, but pizza is just a calzone is too much bread. The ratio is not right. Pizza is the way. It's just perfectly balanced. And cheese pizzas, okay. Pepperoni pizza, classic. And then you have bacon, sausage, mushroom, all this. You can really make a pizza your own. And then deep dish, talk about New York. I don't know. I don't want to rant about pizza, but as long as you don't put pineapples on it, I am there. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
No pineapple.
Yeah, and I haven't tried the fish, but I'm pretty sure I'll leave that off too. I'm good with that one. Yeah.
Quick pizza story. My mom and I went to Germany when I was 12 to visit a sick relative. And while we're there, first couple days, we're suffering through authentic German handmade food, and it's just not cuisine that we're good with. No offense, I'm German, among other things, but homemade German cuisine is a thing.
Okay.
You're either down with it or you're not. So we're starving for something that we're familiar with. And we have a cousin there, and he's like, I'll take you to pizza. We're like, oh, great. We know this. We're familiar with this.
Yeah.
Except for they have the wackiest toppings over there. I ordered pepperoni. They put salami on it. That's pepperoni to them.
No.
I got through it. It was fine.
Yeah.
My mom orders tuna fish and egg. No joke. It was like they took a can of chicken to the sea, sprinkled it all over the place, and then they took an egg, sunny side up, and put it dead center in the middle of the pie. It looked like a diseased eye looking at you.
I can't. What? That's great. That actually is insane to me. Did she eat it? Was it good? Was it some type of culinary odd masterpiece?
She ate it, and she said it was the best pizza she ever had. When we got back to the States, she tried to get the neighborhood pizza, the pizzeria that we always went to. She tried to get them to make it. They looked at her, they were like, we have neither of those ingredients on hand. Why would we? What maniac puts either of those on pizza? She's like, I had it in Germany. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Go back to Europe if you want that.
That's insane. That's insane. Is she
Swear
like,
to God.
I always want to ask, does she go into the store and bought canned tuna and cooked eggs herself? Like, here.
I'm
Finish.
surprised she didn't. I'm
Wow.
surprised she didn't. And she never bothered to make it at home, even when, like they started making like Boboli pizza crust and you could get those at the store. She never thought to make it again.
Yeah, she could pretty much make that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a great story. I can't even imagine that. I mean, it's not the worst food crime I've ever heard. It's just so weird. That is, wow.
Yeah.
Man. Well, speaking of fish, would you rather have live spiders removed from your ears or have live fish removed from your bladder? If you can imagine either of those things happening.
Okay. So the problem I'm having here.
Yeah. Talk me through it.
On the one hand, spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Just their very existence is an affront to nature. I know they serve a purpose. I don't care. Hate spiders. On the other hand, I've had kidney stones.
Ooh, I heard those, Earl.
I've known a woman who had kidney stones and was pregnant. Not at the same time, but I mean, separate life events.
Yeah.
She said that kidney stones were by far more painful than labor.
Yeah, actually, my mom had kidney stones, and obviously so she had children too. But I think she said it was like close to it, if not sometimes worse. So yeah,
I believe it. I believe it. I would describe it as feeling like you have a ninja star playing pinball inside your body. It's just excruciating. So that's what I'm battling here with. I mean, granted, you said bladder.
Yeah, it's close enough.
I still think, though, as much as I can feel the pain of having something pulled out of my bladder, I'm getting the shivers just thinking about it.
You're
as
welcome.
Much as I can feel that, I still think I've got to go with the fish just because it's not a spider. The idea that I would be a home for a spider, I don't know that I could continue living beyond that point.
Yeah, I get it. Like, especially if they go in there with like little tweezers, whatever, you could feel like trying to scutter away. You're like, oh,
Yeah. I'm going to assume the fish is dead because it's inside me, and I'm going to assume that it's not like they're not pulling out a pike or a salmon out of me. I'm assuming it's like a sardine or something.
Let's say like the fish is alive, but it has to be small enough to be in there. Like it's a really small fish. Like
I'm still going with the fish.
Okay.
Still, somehow, the idea of the spider.
I get it. This question is based off a true story. Some woman had spiders removed from her ears. It's like she had a spider in her ear. She heard a bunch of clicking, whatever, went to the doctor, because she was hearing it for like, I think a month or a week, some terrible length of time before she got checked out. And they found a live spider in her ear and they had to like, I think gas kill it or then pull it out or something like that. So, yeah.
What were you doing in life that you somehow had created the condition where a spider got into and nested and just was chilling in your ear? Like, what?
Yeah,
I'm not passing judgment. Maybe it got there in her sleep, and it could happen to any of us, and she was just the unlucky lottery winner. But whatever life track she had that got her to that point, I kind of want to know so I can do everything in my power to avoid.
Yeah, I get that. I completely get that. I don't even know. I really don't want to know. Oh, we're moving on too, because that one is getting me. That one hurts me too. That one's creepy. Would you rather be physically allergic to PDA, public displays of affection, or only be able to be good at a game as long as people are jeering/insulting you? And let's say you're at your regular game goodness, but if someone starts to like, hey, you piece of shit, like, starts getting on you, then you'll start getting better. And like, the more hate you get, the better you become at that game. So it could be superpower in like a funny way.
I think I would rather the jeering leading me to be better at a game. only because the opposite. Well, okay, so let me double back then. Let me double back. So the PDA part, are we talking like you can't even hold hands, or are we talking about like no making out in public?
Good clarifying question. I'd say like the more affectionate it is, the worse it is. So like holding hands is sort of like a itching, like you're breaking out to me like a rash, whatever. If you're kissing, that's like life threatening. That's like selfish. I've eaten something bad. That's life threatening allergic. But other than that, it's all just sort of a like you're generally uncomfortable and unwell when PDA is happening, especially if it's happening to you. If you see someone else, it's like sort of like a nauseous feeling. But if it's to you, there's going to be physical symptoms.
Okay, then I'm definitely going with the jeering being my gaming superpower thing. My wife and I have been together for over 20 years, and we still can be lovey-dovey and hold hands in public. And I mean, I'm not the, hey, let's suddenly start making out in the middle of Kroger. I don't get those people. Get a room, please. A little romance in public is cute, and I would hate to be able to just walk into a building and two people are being cute and sweet and I suddenly feel like throwing up. Whereas with the other way, okay, fine. So I'm an average gamer, and then, I go on Twitch and all of a sudden everyone's calling me every name in the book and suddenly I become the greatest gamer alive. I can deal with that. I don't have a problem. The criticism of other people rolls off my back anyway, so I can deal with that.
Yeah, I think it'd be actually very cool. Like, there's like a note on top of the Twitch stream, whatever. Only insults only. Like, if you want me to win, insult me. Like, yeah. You actually garner a lot of publicity that way. Like, and then people give you praise, you start to suck. Fun.
Yep. It could be, you could almost even turn it into a sport or not a sport, like a competition. Like, be creative, because most people are just going to come on and they're going to jump to like homophobia or racism or something like that. And it's going to be real easy. You could turn it into a competition of find something creative, insult me in a unique and intelligent way, and turn the heckling into like this competitive sport amongst the listeners and the watchers. I think that could be a fun side effect.
Yeah, I force people to creatively curse. I'm sure you know of the AVGN, right? The Angry Video Game.
Longtime fan.
As you were saying that, I was like, well, there's one guy I know who's like, if there's a guru in creative cursing, I think it's that guy.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it would all be fecal based, but it would still be entertaining to see how he recontextualizes that insult over and over.
It's freaking crazy. It's actually impressive to me, like how pointed and specific and yet cuttingly insulting the insults would be. And mostly fecal based, but and that's a good way to look at it. Hey, this next question is not a question. It's more of like an open-ended one. What horror movie villain would you want as a father? If you had to pick one.
Ooh. Okay, that's... Ooh.
Let me run down this list. So okay. I don't have a list in front of me, but we got Scream. We have Freddy Krueger, of course, Mike Myers, Jason Voorhees, Chucky the Doll, Pinhead, Candyman, It the Clown, It the Clown from the 70s. Trying to think who else we got.
So let's see. So I'm going to start eliminating a few here because I've got a couple in my head that I think might be it, but I want to...
Yeah.
For the sake of the listeners, I want to tackle them, all of the big ones here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael Myers, it doesn't matter which continuity because there's like, 5 of them?
Mm-hmm.
But depending on which series of Halloween movies you want to watch. In all of them, his number one goal is, like, kill everyone he sees.
Yeah.
Or if it's the Thorn trilogy one, he's specifically programmed to kill his family. That's probably a bad dad. I'm going to go out on a limb there.
Yeah.
Jason might be a decent candidate. He definitely loves his mother.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I don't know how he would feel about having kids of his own, but he's definitely got familial, he understands the concept of familial bonds. So set him aside.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger, bad touch, no good. No, thank you. And I'm not even talking about the glove. I'm just talking.
Yeah, no, I got you. I know what you meant.
Yeah. The glove is just another part of
that's a whole nother different. Yeah, don't even need that. Yeah.
Pinhead, no. I'm afraid that his corporal punishment methods would probably be a little extreme.
He probably wouldn't kill you though. It's like he does understand deals and family. I think he's like, yeah. I don't think he would kill you if you were his son. Yeah, punishment for sure.
Oh yeah,
but
he ain't just grounding you. That's definite.
Yeah.
You're getting 40 lashes with a barbed wire chain or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Oh, there's Terrifier. That came out last year, too. I mean, not Terrifier 3 came out, but yeah.
Right. Which I have not seen any of the Terrifiers. They're a little overly violent for my taste.
Dude, as someone who survived the first two movies, I say no. But that's just me. That's just Houston over here. But the first movie, so violently dark. And the second movie just sucked. I mean, it was also kind of violently dark, but not as much as the first one. And then when people came back and told me the third was the worst, they were like, the most violent, I said, I passed. I was like, okay, no. My brother came back to me, and he's someone who watches out crazy things. Like he'll watch, those Years a Slave type movies, or like Human Centipede type things. They're super tragic and based on real events that are hard to watch, or they're so disgusting and I think there's called Green Inferno. He saw that movie, about cannibalism, like those out there crazy things that he'll come back and be like, meh, whatever. He came back to me and told me that Terrifier 3 was a lot, and hell no. Okay, nope. I bowed out, and I barely made out the first two. Yeah, so you're not missing it. He's already going on a rant, but Terrifier. No. That if there was a line, I drew it there.
That would be my. I am not into that torture porn and violence for the sake of it and nothing else, and that is so far beyond that border for me. Oh yeah, I've seen enough clips of it. Like I've watched the kill count of Terrifier, and that was more than enough for me to go, no, don't even need it. Not interested. So Art the Clown would be right out in that case.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chucky, I think, is too maniacal. I think he's way off the reservation as far as, I don't think he cares about family.
I think he had a son. Didn't he?
Son/daughter? Like.
Yeah. It was, what's the word when you can't tell? It was like.
Yeah.
I forgot the word, but yeah, he did have a kid.
Yeah, like, it's trans, I think.
No, it was before trans was a thing.
With it being a doll, it's kind of hard to know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So the ones I'm thinking of, I think Candyman might be a good candidate. He clearly has a form of love in him. It's a little bit dark, it's a little bit twisted, but I think he has a little bit of it. Jason, like I said before, the tall man from Phantasm. Maybe. I don't know. He's so enigmatic. Maybe not him. I think that might be just my bias because Phantasm is my favorite horror movie.
Okay. Sorry, I haven't seen Phantasm, so.
Here's my little rant then. Do you like trippy movies where you don't get quite all the answers to what you're watching? Okay,
not really.
Then Phantasm may not be for you then.
Okay, I can take a bit of that, but I demand answers. Unless it's completely an artsy film where I shouldn't expect that, I want answers to a plot.
Yeah. No, Phantasm deliberately leaves some things unanswered and just keeps throwing more weird shit at you. It's just like, oh, you thought that was weird? Here's the next thing. And it's weirder. And here's the next thing. And it's weirder. And we're going to answer like 25% of it intentionally.
I can't. I know myself. I'd be annoyed. I just can't. I need at least 75%.
Yeah. Then Phantasm wouldn't be for you.
Okay.
So I guess I think I'd have to probably go Candyman. Every horror movie villain is going to be a terrifying idea.
Yeah.
But I think he has the best chance because he he showed love to Helen. Yes, he killed her, but he wanted to be together with her. Because she was the reincarnation of his love. Candyman 2, he was going after his daughter, or not his daughter, is like what, great granddaughter or something. There was clearly a familial bond that he was driven by. We'll pretend the third one didn't happen. God.
That's a lot of horror movies. That's actually a lot of movie trilogies, period, actually. But yeah.
Yes. The fourth one, it was almost like a different Candyman entirely. So it's kind of hard to square that one with the first one. But still, I think he has the best chance of being a good father. Whereas the other ones, I think the humanity, I don't think there's enough humanity to hold out a whole lot of hope.
Yeah. I think Chucky, outside of Jason, was the closest to humanity, kind of. But as it went on, it got more goofy. But he was a person.
Yes.
Androgynous, I think is the word we're looking for, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. You couldn't tell. And yeah, it's a doll. It has no parts. But yeah.
Well, it must have some parts, because Chucky and I can't remember the
I know what you're talking about. Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
It's her character or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how they made the kid.
Makes no
sense.
No sense.
That series got to be a little bit much for me.
Well, speaking of a little bit much, next question. Would you rather orgasm every time the word apple is said, or in your vicinity, or have to wrestle Hulk Hogan every time you drop something? So if you're holding a pencil and you drop it, he's just standing behind you, waiting to slam you onto the ground.
That's bizarre. The selfish, lazy part of me wants to say the orgasm, because I think I can avoid the use of the word apple for most often. I don't say it. It doesn't really come up.
What type of phone do you...
Unfortunately, an iPhone.
What's another word for it? It's like...
that could be a problem. Yeah. So, I mean, I still think I could avoid saying apple for the most part.
But it's other people, it...
True.
Someone says it within earshot.
Yeah. That. Whereas, oh man, I mean, wrestling Hulk Hogan. See, he wasn't. Well, okay. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure he wasn't the best wrestler. So I think I could probably handle myself. But then he gets the whole comeback and then he kicks me in the face and leg drop and he wins.
At some point in time, Hulk Hogan was the number one wrestler in the WWF, I believe.
Yes.
Back when it was WWF. Yeah. He was number one. And, you can say wrestling's fake, but to an extent it's real, and it'll be real for you.
I think I'll probably have to deal with the orgasm better, because at the very least, okay, yeah, I'm going to have a little cleanup involved or carry around a lot of tissues. But at least I'm not getting violenced by a 280-pound man. Just because I dropped a pencil.
Just don't drop anything.
That I would be so paranoid about not dropping something that I know I would drop things all the time at that point. I mean, it would be unavoidable. And then I'd be worried about, okay, what constitutes a drop? If I just set something down, but I set it down from a couple inches above the desktop, does that count as a drop? Then I'd just be getting paranoid about all the different ways a drop could, I could quantify a drop. And no, I think I still think I would have to deal with the mess of the apple orgasm over Hulk Hogan murdering me because I accidentally succumbed to gravity.
Got it. It'd be funny, though. I mean, you could show your friends. I think it'd be funny. Maybe not for you, but for me, and for any other bystander. If Hulk Hogan magically just showed up, watch this, and you purposely, what if for something to be a drop, you have to unintentionally let something go? I guess so you can't summon him, because a drop is only when you unintentionally let gravity take something. So, that'd be this would be cool.
If it was only summoned by accident, I mean, I would still be paranoid, but I think that would be a little bit more manageable.
Because, like, if you're dropping a basketball, for instance, you're purposely letting it go to the ground. You're not dropping, like if you're trying to get something out of your pants and you throw it onto the ground, you're throwing, like it's, at first,
Right.
something to be actually a drop, it has to be unintentional, I think. So, yeah.
So we're going with clumsiness, and clumsiness has to be the mechanism of the drop, no intent.
Yeah, you did not intend for that to happen, for that to hit the ground right then, like that. So that's why I said pencil, like, yeah. Oh, my wallet slipped out of my pocket. Dropped your wallet. And then Hulk Hogan, like, picks it up for you, takes you by the head.
I'm just imagining, God, what commercial was it? Oh, it was I think it was like Progressive or something, where someone was like, man, that's ludicrous. And all of a sudden, ludicrous just popped up out of nowhere. I'm imagining that where, like, I drop a pencil and all of a sudden Hulk Hogan's in my office doorway and he's like, okay, come on, I got to kick your ass again.
Yeah. He just says, come here. Like, he just is like, you can't run from me. Just, like, let's get this over with.
And now I'm imagining it like interrupting his life.
Yeah.
Like, he was at home, he was making some pasta or cooking dinner or something, and all of a sudden, he's in my house.
Yeah,
and he's got
pissed.
an apron on, and he's like,
you know what I was doing? You know what I was doing before you dropped?
What did you drop this time?
I was reading to my daughter. You idiot. I don't know, just something. He's pissed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to knock over my cup of water. Doesn't matter, gotta kick your ass now.
You know the rules?
Brother, you know the rules, brother.
So you're picking the other one, sorry.
I'm still going with the apple orgasm. I still think the violence is still the part of me that, like, as annoying as the apple orgasm could possibly get, I'm still not being beaten up.
Got it. Hey, respect your choice. It's a hard one. Apples to apples. It's fine.
I would never be able to play that game. Shit. I'm still going with it.
Okay, it's open-ended. But if there was a sandwich that you could name after yourself, what would it be? What would be in it?
I've never thought of that.
There's like the Reuben, whatever. Like, there's a Caesar salad. This would be known as definitively the Jed sandwich. Like, definitively. Everyone's going to be like, no, that's the Jed sandwich. It's Jed.
It would probably be so my favorite sandwich is a French dip.
Those are good. Jalapenos spread on it, by the way.
Yes.
That's good.
Well, there's a bar near my house that has married the French dip with the Philly cheesesteak.
Okay.
So you order it, and it's a standard French dip, except for it's got mozzarella or provolone, I think it's provolone. So you get the cheesiness of a Philly cheesesteak, and apologies to anyone in Philly. I know the provolone's not the cheese that they use. I don't care. If it's cheese and steak on bread, it's a Philly cheesesteak as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, so you get that Philly cheesesteakness, but you also get the au jus to dip in. It's just, it's next level. I think if I took that and made some modifications, like, I'd like to add some spice to it. So, like, maybe some Cajun spice, something to just bring that out. Some peppers, some banana peppers probably would be where I was going. Some olives as well. I love black olives. Yeah. So let's go with that. So let's go with roast beef.
Okay.
Provolone cheese, banana peppers, olives, Cajun spice, side of au jus.
That sounds pretty nice. It's a bit spicy for me. I don't know if I can do that, but it sounds pretty nice. Sounds pretty good. Like the French dip marrying the Philly cheesesteak. Yeah. No, that sounds pretty good off the bat. That sounds pretty good. But I don't think I've had banana peppers isolated, though. How spicy are those?
Pretty mild. Lower than a jalapeno, I believe. Like pepperoncini level, maybe. In between pepperoncini and jalapeno. So definitely on the low end of the Scoville scale. But I know people like my wife, for instance, she can't even do a pepperoncini, which is, I believe, the lowest pepper on the Scoville scale. Like, black pepper is her level of spice. Anything beyond that, she's out. So,
whoa,
it just depends. What's spicy on paper and what's spicy on someone's tongue are completely different.
Yeah, but the Jed has It's like you need to have this spicy threshold to enjoy Jed. Like it's a spicy sandwich. You take it or leave it.
Yep, pretty much.
Nice one. All right. Going back into your movie knowledge, what do you think is the best on-screen version of a zombie? And then after that, what is the best on-screen version of a vampire? Like, what are the best portrayals?
Ooh. For me, for zombies, see, recently I have gotten more into movies that really take zombies in a different direction, like horror comedies. There's a great one called Eat Brains Love, which is a romantic coming-of-age teenage comedy inserted into a zombie apocalypse.
Is it like Warm Bodies? Because I've seen that one.
It's kind of like Warm Bodies, but I think I like Eat Brains Love more.
Okay.
I think it's a little more charming.
Okay.
But those, see, if we're just distilling it down to pure zombieism.
And when I say best, I mean, it could be under any criteria that you were looking for. If you say best, but like most entertaining, or if you think the best is the most deadly, I don't know. That means different things, to different people, but.
Right. I'm going to have to go with this, man. This is a hard one to pick. Off the top of my head right now, I think I would have to go with the zombies from Train to Busan.
Okay.
As much as to me, like when I think zombie, I still think of the slow walking, lumbering horde. The zombies in Train to Busan, they were just the way that they were hyper aggressive. It was kind of like the zombies from 28 Days Later, but they weren't just rage monsters. These were definitely the living dead. And there was just something about the way that they were aggressive, but the way that they were just so reckless and zombie-like, and especially then confined in a train. Those zombies were just absolutely terrifying. Probably the most terrifying zombie movie that I've watched.
That's a good pick.
So I'd have to go with that. Vampires, I've never been big on vampires, so that's more challenging. I'd say probably my favorite vampire movie would be The Lost Boys.
Oh, with the kids, or they weren't kids, teenagers running around in the junkyard or whatever.
Yeah,
wasn't that a musical, or am I misremembering? Did they?
They might have turned it into a musical, but originally no. I mean, there were some musical scenes in it, but no like song and dance numbers.
Okay.
I think I would have to go with the vampires from Lost Boys. There was just a modernization of them. They were punk and they were cool, and they kind of embrace, because classic vampires are supposed to be able to have an immense amount of charm and, be able to convince people that they've got under their spell to do things and to surrender to them. So these vampires, they really embraced that and took that to the next level with kind of like a punk, sexy sensibility. And just that the way that they modernized it and tapped it and connected it to youth culture of 1987, at least.
Yeah.
That just stands out to me as the most entertaining vampire movie and portrayal of them that I can think of.
Got it. All right. So two things come to mind real quick for those. So have you seen World War Z?
No, I read the book, but I know that the movie was so divorced from the book. I kind of had my guard up about it.
That makes sense. Honestly, if you read the book, you may be disappointed by the movie because I've heard that often. I haven't read the book and I heard it's really great, but I saw the movie first. And those zombies throw themselves at I forgot the movie you quoted earlier, like 28 Days Later, but it's like that meets Resident Evil plus on crack, because those zombies make walls out of themselves. Like they're pretty much superhuman as zombies with how fast they're going, how vicious they are, so far from human. And so you taking it back a notch and saying you can still tell they're people, but they're undead is fascinating to me. Like, yeah, they're not the deadliest, but they're still they're creepy, in that way. And they're still deadly, but creepy. Yeah. Great answer. And the vampire one. Have you seen Twilight? That's what I think. I saw that.
Not in my wheelhouse.
Well, I've seen Twilight. It wasn't like I have a sister. Okay. And Twilight came out when I was like in middle school, high school, and I was like, it was around, and I think I'm pretty sure I've seen every single one of them, I think. And those vampires piss me off. You know, they sparkle in the sunlight and they eat. The only cool thing about them is that they, like, the factions, you know, like, they still have the house thing, like the old school vampires. They still have who's in charge and whatever, and they eat animals' blood because they can't eat human blood. But it's everything else outside of that was just super goofy. But in the same way that it spoke to the youth of mid 2000s, Lost Boys, I think, spoke to the youth of '87. So I get where you're coming from. I mean,
I just thought of another vampire. As a matter of fact, you know what?
What?
Let's push away Lost Boys.
Okay.
Angel.
Angel. I don't think I've seen Angel.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show.
Oh, I haven't. Okay, I'm sorry, I haven't seen Buffy. Okay.
Okay, so Angel is the spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Angel was a 200-year-old vampire who Buffy fell in love with. He was cursed with a soul, so he has deep regret for everything that he did as a vampire. In the course of Buffy, you find out that his curse can be lifted if he ever experiences true happiness, which he does when he ends up sleeping with Buffy. And then he loses his soul and becomes evil again. Huh. So I won't go into the entire plot because it's seasons and seasons of TV, but eventually he gets his soul back and he decides to leave because it's better to not be around this woman that he loves, so that way he isn't tempted to do something to make himself be happy again. So he leaves, he gets his own spin-off, and he ends up becoming this, like, crime-fighting private detective that's battling, kind of like if the X-Files was private investigators instead of the FBI. So he's fighting, like, vampires and demons and monsters and all sorts of supernatural stuff. And there's a big story arc every season with a big bad and everything, but just the way that they do vampires in that is, I loved Buffy and I really loved Angel because it was this kind of dark noir. It was like a film noir, so it was kind of a throwback to like the, you know, Humphrey Bogart movies and stuff, but then your lead character is also a vampire, and that just, it was definitely a show of the time, but I just loved the vampires in that show, how they looked normal, and then when they became a vampire, they got kind of like this Klingon style forehead ridge, and they got ugly, and their teeth, like, it just happened instantaneously, and they could leap so high, and they were super powered, and it's campy, but it was something that hit at the right time in my life, and I still look back on it fondly. So
nice.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Hey, nice pick. Because the ugly vampires they're entertaining always. Yeah. We're running out of time, and I need to ask this question. This is the one I warned you about before we started recording.
All right, I'm buckled in.
Audience, buckle in. Sorry in advance for even saying this. Would you rather get your dick stuck in a hole in the ground for 3 days? Or have to, dang it, or have to...
He's ashamed to read it.
I can do this. Or have to eat out the vagina of a family member that you have chosen, and yeah, you have to convince them pretty much to let you do that before you move on with your life. There you go. I said it. There. And for the first one, here are the stipulations of the first one. Like, it's a hole in the ground. It's like a public hole. People will be able to see you do this. It's like you're stuck there. So it's kind of a spectacle of a thing, kind of.
So I'm just bare-assed with my dick in a hole in the ground.
3 days.
In like a city park.
Yep.
For like 3 days.
Yep.
The logistics of that alone.
You are stuck. No one's going to be able to remove you if they try. You cannot get up yourself. You are stuck.
The logistics of that are so insane. Like, how do I eat? How do I shit?
I don't know. Well, you could pee. I know you could.
Yep, and I know where it's going. I just can't bring myself to the second option, though, because, I mean, no matter how many cousins I go down the line to get as far away from deliverancing this as possible, I just can't bring myself to be like, yeah, third cousin, let's go. Still hitting the I word on that. And
Yeah.
I think as much as that would wrap up the situation far, far quicker,
Mm-hmm.
I'd still rather deal with the logistical headache and public humiliation of being stuck with my dick in the hole in the ground.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
What were you on when you came up with that idea?
I don't know, but I do know I wrote this because, like I said, if 3 days is too little, then how about a week? But you picked that too fast. Like, let's say you will live for a week. Like, you're not gonna die from exposure, or whatever. This is gonna go, but it's the ground thing for a week. Does that change it, or are you still going with the ground?
I still can't bring myself to try and mac on a cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you what set of circumstances would make that be the more appealing choice, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
If I tried hard enough, I could, but I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do it. It's my job to think of terrible things on top of terrible things on top of terrible things.
You certainly picked something there. And you warned me. You definitely warned me.
I'm sorry.
No, I was the one who agreed to both listening to that question and to go in red band on this. So I knew that there was the possibility of something that would make my eyes cross, and you accomplished it.
I try. Sometimes I wish I didn't. All right, we're going to end on a nicer one, though. Just a nice family-friendly question. Would you rather fight Jason or fight Michael Myers?
Ooh.
This is like for your life / to the death, there's really no stopping these two, but this is the end of the movie, the quote-unquote stop when you think they're dead, I guess, to get to that point. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And you're fighting them on, like, their natural habitat, so Camp Crystal, Halloween,
Zombie Jason or original Jason?
Isn't original Jason always zombie Jason? Because when they kill him, he comes back at the end.
There's an argument, though, you could say he never fully dies in the first 3 movies, that he just kind of takes a strong, like he's just incapacitated for a while and then comes back.
We'll pick that guy. We'll pick him.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're taking first couple movies, Jason. First couple movies, Mike, before they're proven to be, invincible.
In that case, I'm gonna go with Jason. One reason.
Okay.
I think I might be able to outsmart him. Michael is just a little more cunning, a little more patient. Not that he sets traps, but he thinks a few steps ahead, whereas Jason is just a bull in a china shop. Like he'll wait behind a door for you to come through and everything, but he is just far more
animalistic.
He's a full speed ahead train that's just looking to mow down as many things as he can, whereas Michael's a little more methodical, and I don't want to have to deal with that. I think I have a better chance of outsmarting the dumb guy.
Yeah,
maybe.
In an analogy, Jason is more of a machete and Michael's a knife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have a better chance of outwit. I still don't think I would survive, but I think I have a better chance of outwitting Jason than trying to go toe to toe with Michael at any point.
Gotcha. No, it makes sense. And hey, you know what? Last question, because I wanted this to be the last question, actually, because that was good, but I have one more that I want to ask.
Sure.
We're running out of time, but why not? Would you rather be the best at racing games, but suck at every other game now, or be the best kisser in human history, but you're trash at gaming now? Like, you suck at all games.
Wow, that's interesting. Man.
Let's walk through. Tell us what
I could at least get enjoyment out of one kind of game. It's not a game genre I particularly gravitate towards, but it's not something I dislike, whereas I could ruin my hobby, but my wife would be happy.
Yeah? So you'd be the best in history, in human history.
My God, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I have to go with the better kisser.
Oh, wow.
As much as it hurts me to basically become the worst gamer on earth, there's an old phrase. Happy wife, happy life.
Hey?
If
Yeah.
I can have the opportunity to increase her happiness, I think I got to do the noble sacrifice there and keep running into the Goomba on level 1-1 of Mario.
It's a noble sacrifice. I mean, the first one gives you some money, though. You know, Gran Torino, enter those tournaments. You know, you're the best at a genre. That's money. You can make your wife happy with that.
If you'd picked a different genre,
Mm-hmm.
it probably would have, if you'd picked a genre where, like, if you said the best at RPGs or the best at platformers, I'd really have a tough time at that point. Racing is not, like, I think I have one, maybe two racing games, most. It's just not a genre that I gravitate towards, so I don't know how much enjoyment I would get at being the best of something where it's like, okay, fine, I can play for 10 minutes.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense. Would you, if you're the best kisser, would you would just kiss your wife? I mean, I'm not saying anything here. That's like being the best of it, baker, and you only sell to one person and the world can't know. You know, like, would you have any of that guilt of, like, your wife knows, but would there be that thought of, I'm the best in history? I don't know. Would there be any of that thought? You're like, no, she's special. She deserves it.
Not a chance. Not a hesitation in the world. I know she would say that I'm biased, but as far as I'm concerned, and I don't condone turning women rating them into numbers. That can gross. But for the sake of this analogy, to me, she is the only 10 on the planet.
Man.
Everyone else doesn't measure up. They're good. There's some very beautiful women on the planet. Do not get me wrong. But no one measures up to her. So I don't need to impress anybody else.
Well said. You hear that, Linda? You're safe. Okay. I don't know your wife's name. I was taking a guess.
Alicia, but you
didn't have to do that.
Oh, it's okay.
All right.
She isn't listening anyway, so.
Cool. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode. That's Crazy Questions. And, Jed, I want to head over the spotlight to you. Is there anything you want to plug and tell the listeners in general?
Yeah. If you love gaming, if you love gaming history, you don't even have to love gaming history. If you've only been gaming for, you're 18, you've only been gaming a year, but you want to hear about gaming's history, check out First Gen Gamers. Every episode, we go generation by generation of the consoles. We pick a topic. Me and Ashley debate the nominees that we pick for that topic. So it is definitely a tour through gaming history. You can find us everywhere on all the podcasting platforms, Apple and Spotify and YouTube. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Blue Sky at Streets of Jed. I'm also on Letterboxd, where I review every movie that I watch. I think my screen name's the same thing. So, yeah, follow me. Listen to the podcast. Interact, rate, review, blah, blah, blah. Would love to share it with more people.
Awesome. Yeah, do all that good stuff Jed just said. And I'll be following you on Blue Sky, too. So, wait, Starts of Jed? Streets of Jed.
Streets of Jed. Yep. It's a reference. Have you ever watched the show Community?
No, not really. I've seen clips and all this stuff. It looks like it's funny from what I've seen, but I haven't sat down. There's nowhere for me to really watch it. But yeah,
it's a reference to that show. It's like my all-time favorite comedy. So if you sit down and watch it, it's a reference in the first season. It would not even be worth explaining because it's so left field. It wouldn't make sense without the context of what's going on in the show.
Gotcha. I mean, it's a good name. I mean, obviously there's backstory, but me just looking at it goes, Streets of Jed. Nice. It doesn't ring, but I'm sure it hits hard for those people who've seen the show. Hey, everyone, let me know through comments, email, Instagram, if there's any questions you'd like to ask, or add to the list. It's 1000 Crazy Questions on Instagram, and share this with your friends, share this with your enemies. Everyone stay safe.
As always, follow my music producer D800, D-800 at BeatStars or SoundCloud.com.